Hello my people, I welcome you again back to my channel. My name is ICBN Vlog. Please, if you have not watched my first part and second part of my story of my life to the journey of my life, I will encourage you to go and watch them so that you can be able to connect to this third part of the story. Before I go on with my story, or before I start to talk about my story is a true life story. It is what I have been through in my life that I am telling people to know, so that through this journey of my life, many people will be encouraged. If you have not been through such situation, and one way or the other you may find yourself in them, you will also be encouraged to know that somebody else have also go through such situation. Or you are planning to send your child somewhere so that it will be of help to your family or something like that. When you listen to my story, you may change your mind. And I also tell my story because I believe it is God who have allowed me to go through all this process of life, or through this phase of life, so that I will be strong. In the book of Psalm 165, Psalm 119, verse 165, the psalmist said that it is good that I am afflicted, so that I may know the Lord. Sometimes in life, just as I've said before, you may not know the value of what you have until you lose them. Something you did not go through to get, maybe you did not work hard to get, you may not know how to make use of them. Sometimes some people, they may have somebody who always help them, maybe give them money, give them all they want. They may not know the value because they never work for it. But when you work so hard to get your money, you will not spend it unnecessarily, because you know that if you lose that money, it will take you another hard work to get it. So the story of the journey of my life is a story that if you can have patience to listen to them, it will encourage you. No matter your difficult situation or what you may be going through, I believe that at the end, what matters is how did you come to the expected end of it? What did God use this thing to teach you? What were the reason why you go through some of difficult times? I am not praying that anybody must go through difficult times, but I am saying that maybe some are going through them, some are still in them, some have even finished their own, now they are rejoicing. Even in the Bible, especially those who are believers like me, there was no easy road. If you read about the prophets, many of them go through hard times. I beg God give them opportunity to overcome them. Even our Lord Jesus Christ, who we so much believe in him, he too, he came into the world, he go through journey of life. But at the end, what he did is the reason why many of us are believing in him, serving him, and glorifying God through him. So this is the third part of my story. Please, if you have not subscribed, please try to subscribe. Try to hit the notification button. Please also try to hit the like button so that my channel can grow and God will bless you in the mighty name of Jesus. So I continue my story here. The last time I talked about how I was so young, I followed my aunt to her husband's house. One way or the other, we relocate to another city. After that, my aunt started to treat me so bad until I spent almost 5 to 6 good years with her before they brought me back to our house in our city or in our town. So by the time I came back to our town, I'm already, let's say I am already a young girl who is of age. By then, I am already 11 years old. So when I came back, I started to stay with my mom. My dad was also a businessman. He always go, from one city to the other to buy things. He's a businessman to do like buying and selling. by then. So things were not all that good, but we are living a better life than when I was with my aunt. So I started to stay with my parents. Then I continued my primary education. Everything went well until it was the time for me to enter my secondary school. But before I go into the story of what happened when I was in secondary school, I would like to clear some story also here about my family background. Like in the eastern part where I come from a family, most of the time we call it Obi. Obi is a family where maybe they have you have many uncles born in such a family, but as generation grow, many of them will leave that family to go and start to create their own family in a nearby village. So anytime the kinsmen or those family want to gather again to discuss about family matters, they have to come to the root where they were born, the exact place where they live before they go and start to live on their own. So there is always somebody who will be there like representative. So it is them, let's say maybe the first man in the house, he have a child. So when he died, the first son of that man will continue to be the inheritor or the head that will always stay as a chief in that family. So anytime there is a meeting, when other family members will come from their different place they are staying, then the inheritor or the heir will be the one to represent. Some of the family, they are always big. By the time they gather, they may not even know each other again. Maybe it may be like third, fourth generation or even more. But they always know that this is our former family before we leave that family. So in such place, when they are going there to go visit their people, they will say they are going to their Obi. So in this situation, my dad is the first son of my granddad, and my granddad have other brothers also, but my granddad is the inheritor of this family, whereby he will be the one to hold the staff of this Obi. That means as my granddad died, my dad will be the one that will continue to be like the chief in that our family, because my granddad was also the first son of my great granddad. So like my granddad being the first son, they will give him some portion of land because he is the first son, and his portion of land will be more than some of his brothers. So my granddad have a lot of land, not all that massive land, but according to how we are, his own is more than his brothers. So also my granddad also have my dad, and my dad now turned out to be the only son for my granddad. So my granddad also give him this portion of land because it is his own inheritance. He need to transfer it to his own son, because my granddad too is the only my dad is the only son, and my granddad is the only son. But my granddad have other brothers then who they share property with them, but their own is not as many as my granddad, because my granddad is the first son. And because of that, because in eastern part where I come from, the first son always have more portion of properties more than the junior brothers, because he is the first son. So anytime something happened to the father of the house, the first son always represents as the father to his junior brothers and take care of them. By then, the women in the family, they don't inherit anything in the family because they have to get married. So in their husband house, that is where they belong. So anything that they need to get is from their husband. So most of the time, when they come for something like land or property sharing, it belongs mostly to the men. So for this reason, because my granddad have a lot of land, he make my father also to be a landowner as well. But to my granddad, these are the uncles I have, because my dad does not have any brother, he does not have any sister. He's the only child to my granddad. But the uncles, that is the brothers of my granddad, they are not the one representing or playing the role of uncle to us. But something happened because of that will be where we come from. it is my granddad who always have the final say when there is like kinsmen meeting, or anytime the whole family from other places come, or those that is in other city or that have traveled far away. So every celebration time, like the time of like New Year festival, or like the time of Christmas time, these people, they will surely come back to our main family, which is our house, to celebrate Christmas with us, or to celebrate New Year festival with us. So in this situation, anything they brought in the family, most of the portion go to my dad, because my dad now is like the heir apparent in the family. He is the one holding the staff of the family. Is, or when there is like a problem in our kinsmen, they have to bring this problem to my dad. So after they negotiate the problem, then my dad will be the one to finalize the situation the way it will go, as of then, as of that time. Or maybe there's something like taking a wife, maybe in my kinsmen, somebody want to marry from our kinsmen. When they want to discuss about the bride price and everything, it will be my dad who will say, okay, this is the last bride price they will collect from the groom. So that is what it seems like to come from Obi. So, and there is also some traditional rule that when you come from such Obi or such environment, maybe as a woman, there are some things you don't need to do. They will teach you how to be properly brought up. They will teach you a lot of moral. There are the way there are some things, there are some dressing you don't need to wear when you come from such family. There are some way things you don't need to say. You have to be a properly trained. You have to be brought up in a very special way, so that people will not say, oh, look at somebody that the father is a staff holder, or a heir apparent to the homeowner, or how they call it then. This, look at the way her daughter is behaving or her son is behaving. No, you will be like example to other young girls if you are a lady, or if you are a girl, or you are a woman. Likewise, your son also must be a well-trained child, so that by the time you are no more, it will be easy for the family also to continue to lead or guide other family members in the way that your parents did. So in that is the such a family where I come from. So I come from a family which we always call Obi. So it's also like a little royal family, but not like the way it is when your father is like a king, or when your father is like Eze. The respect is more higher. But in this small kindred also, or in this small clan, or in your kinsman way, you are also respected also. So when things happen in your kinsman, and maybe my dad is not able to settle it, then he will not be the one to bring the matter to the really Igwe of that village, or the king or the Eze of that village, because now he cannot handle the matter. So you have to take it now to the higher authority. But if it is something he can settle, there's no way your kinsmen will like to take the family matter, no matter how extended the family is, to the Igwe. They have to try to settle it among themselves first. But if they cannot, then they can extend it to the king of that town, or to the king of your village or your environment. So this is the family I come from. So by the time I come back to our place, it's not that we are rich, but because of that land that my dad have, he makes some of the other of my uncles not to be happy with him, and he make us now to be as if we are isolated, because my dad is the only child. He doesn't have direct brothers. So we use my granddad brothers as our uncle. But because they too, when my granddad was having all these things, they never see it as a problem then, until when my granddad had all these things to my dad. And now when my granddad was alive, they also try to seek a white man education. Some of them start to go to follow all these missionaries. So on that process, they were able to be educated. So another thing is, when you are the inheritor of this staff of Obi, you may not have the opportunity to be educated because you are now like a traditionalist. You will always like to stay at home most of the time because the kinsmen may like to discuss one family situation with you or the other. So most of the time they will like to need you around because there must be one complaint, one discussion, one idea, one process of things or the other in a family. So because of that, my granddad was able to stay. He was not opportune to white man education. So when he also gave birth to my dad, he also used the same mentality to keep my dad at home because he make my dad to know that if you leave and go to white man or go to missionary school or do all this modern dating, nobody will be there to take care of the kinsmen. So my dad was not also have the opportunity to go to white man education or modern education. So because of this, our uncles, they did not have land like my dad, but they were able to be educated more than my dad. They were able to see, to be exposed more than my dad. But my dad is at home, but he is not rich. But because he has some of this land, he make him to be like a honorable man, and because of his title, the inheritor of the staff of the family, he becomes somebody that is well also respected because most of the decision cannot make in our kinsmen without him being involved. But when they come for money, then they don't, in their time, they don't see somebody with respect because of his riches. They see you with your respect because of maybe the land or the cash crop you have in your land or how honorable you are. So that is the type of family I come from. So by the time I come back home, my dad was also not all that in good time with all these uncles because they see him as they become like jealous of him because he have some of this landed property more than them. So in this aspect, they are not all that too intimate as brothers. And also these people, they have gone to have good education, so it made them to feel that they are now more superior than my dad. They're making the children to look at us as if we are like, let's say, villagers, people who are not all that exposed. But things continue like this. So when I came back, I was able to finish my primary school. Then we are about to go to secondary school. Fortunately, or will I say unfortunately for me, by then my dad became sick, and we took him to so many places, but they don't know what is wrong with him. Today they will diagnose one thing. By the time they will finish to say, let us know what the problem is, they will start to diagnose another thing. We start to spend money, though we are not rich, but the little we have, we are spending it on my dad to make sure that he gets well. But he is not getting well. Instead, the situation start to get worse. So this time also, I want to go into secondary school. It's like almost all the burden was left on my mom. Like I said before in the first and second part of my story, this is the third part of my story. I am the third child of the family. My senior sister then is in secondary school, and she is living in a boarding house. A boarding house is when you leave your parents and you start to live in the dormitory with other children. So my brother, the one that senior me direct, my immediate elder brother, he did not go to school like my senior sister because they want him also to stay at home, like I explained the situation of Obi, so that they can also be watching him and also to train him according to the family way, so that by the time he will grow up also, he will know some of the rule and regulation of the family to become another inheritor of the family staff as Obi. So he did not also, he only finished his primary school. By the time he's about to go to his secondary school, they say no, he need to go and learn how to do some trade. Most time in the eastern part where I come from, many, let's say 50% of the boys or men, they don't really go to school then because during that time, I think maybe it was almost about, let's say, 10 or 15 years after the war. So things were not all that easy in the eastern part which makes some of the boys or the men to like to go and learn trade so that they can also be successful in order to be able to develop themselves back in the city or in the state where they come from, because everybody is still recovering. Even though the war had finished 15 years ago, the impact or the situation of the war is still being noticed. What am I saying is that things are still hard then. Things are not easy. So it's like every family is still struggling to be able to get themselves back on their feet. So because of that, many boys then they prefer going to struggle to do business. Maybe somebody will took them to serve their master for 5 or 7 years, then they will settle them. So like this, each kindred or each kinsman, they try to help one another to be able to come back to their feet to develop their town or their village. So many of the boys, they don't really go school, but many still go. It depends on what you and your family decide. But in my own situation, my brother was not able to go, but then my sister was already in secondary school, because he is my senior sister, not just direct elder sister, but she give us a lot of gap, because they give birth to her before the war. So after the war, that was when I was born. So I don't know much about the story of the war. They only tell us about war story, but I don't know about them. So by the time I'm talking this my story, by the time I want to enter secondary school, it's already, let's say, like nearly 15 years after the war. So I don't know all those things. But what I'm trying to say is I am now like another generation, because my sister, they give birth to her before the war. The way they reason that time is different. My brother, being a boy and the inheritor of the family, they did not really want her fully to go to school, because they want her to stay to know about the tradition of the village. So in my own time now, it's like we are now the young children that want to start a good education. But in our family now, because of my dad's situation, my mom is struggling to keep us to manage us and to also take care of my dad. We not that we have big land, but all I'm saying is that our own land is small compared to my uncle's. So we don't have anything. And my mom, she's only doing her little business. Like I said before, my mom ran a little restaurant where people around the village come sometimes to eat. Sometimes maybe like the nursery school children, when they are on break, they will come to buy some things, because we have a nursery school near our house, to come and buy things. So my mom do all these things just to sustain the family, not that she's making it in a big way that we have money. So it's like we are trying to survive. The situation there is better than when I was with my aunt, because you cannot stay with your mom and you feel as if you are suffering. Even though there is hardship, everybody will struggle together to make sure that they build the family. So by the time I come back home, I always see a lot of food, because we always buy to sell. So it make me to eat more than the way I don't eat when I was with my aunt. So in this situation, both all of us, both me, both my sister, though sometimes when they have holiday, when she came back to us, she's always helping my mom. So we are like running the restaurant together. Sometimes my mom will do other things to say, okay, take this one and help us to go sell. And in this situation also, some other people in our environment or in our town, whenever they are doing something like wedding, or whenever they are doing something like burial or traditional marriage or any occasion at all, they always come to my mom to contact her to come and maybe help them to cook, or they will bring some of those things to our house. My mom will help them to prepare them. Then they will pay my mom money for helping them to do all those things. So all this thing always boosts my mother's business at times as well. So through this way, that is how we survive. And sometimes also I will help my mom to go to shop so that I can sell for her also. So things were not too hard like that, but things are not also easy for us. So that is the way we were living, and that is also my background. So by the time I enter my secondary school, because of my dad's situation, things become more and more difficult. that my mom have to tell my senior sister then that I think then my senior sister is already in class 4 in her secondary school. But my mom told her, oh, you don't need to stay again in the dormitory. You need to come back home, maybe to start a commercial school. Then there was one school, they call it a commercial school then. You have to learn like to be a secretary. Then women, they don't go to school like today women. They only try to train you so that you will be in the school, but immediately you have a spouse or a suitor who want to marry you, whether you are in your class 2, whether you are in your class 3, that is where your education will end. You have to go to your husband's house. It is now your husband who will decide if he can further your education or not. So most of these men, because they too, they did not really go to too much school, they will not really allow you to continue to that university level. Maybe they will support you to finish your secondary school. Some may not even have enough money to continue with you. So you become a full-time housewife while your husband do some business to support you. Then you start to make children. So in this situation, my mom tell my sister to come back home because there's no much money again to pay for the dormitory and everything about his school. So he can be going to school from home. And he also changed his education from secondary school to commercial school. Commercial school, even though you don't have a very good result, you can go to commercial school, but in secondary school, you must have some points you need to acquire before they can accept you in secondary school. Not like that in commercial school. So by then, when I come back home, my sister also is returned back to continue commercial school. And also in my own time then, I don't know if it is because of war or so, when I wanted to enter secondary school, even in my primary school, when I come back home, I saw a lot of grown-up women. Then I was young, but in my school, then you will see even in primary school, some women that are still like 16 or 17, they are still in primary school. So all of us, we enter secondary school together. So not now like today, you see the children, they are like of the same age level. Maybe the children want to enter secondary school at 12 years. Maybe the maximum you can see is somebody that is 13 or 14. But then when we want to enter secondary school, there are some women that is already like 18, 19, while we are still like 13, or 12 then. So I'm trying to clarify some of these things so that you can be able to follow my story in a simple way, so that you will not get confused on the way. So I take time to explain some certain things so that I can be able to understand what I'm trying to say. So in this aspect, my sister is back to go to commercial school. Why then I finished my primary school, I want to go to secondary school. But things were too hard for my mom. But like as I said before, my mom have two junior sisters. The one I followed to go to the city was her last born. That is the last born of my mom siblings. So in the middle, there's one my mom senior direct, my mom immediate younger sister. This lady is highly educated with her husband. Both of them even go to abroad to study. Then they later came back, and both of them are teacher in the College of Education. So this my aunt also is a very nice woman, not like the one I follow. So she know much about education, and she see that my results are good. So she's the one who was even encouraging my mom that I must go to secondary school. But my mom was trying to say, yeah, she know, but she don't have much money to take care of me and take care of my senior sister who is already in the dormitory. So that is why they say, okay, my senior sister should come home so that the school fee will not be much. So my aunt also say, okay, she too, she can be of little help anytime she have opportunity to help, so that I can go to secondary school. So that is how the whole thing started. As God may want it, my result was so good. But these our uncle children and their wives, they become a thorn on our flesh. They don't like to see us because of that hatred they create, because they are not that rich. But when it comes to money, they have more than us. because the way they go to school, they see people, they get little connection, so they were able to always send their children to school more than our own situation. Because of that, their little education also, they look down on us, because I don't know how to explain it, but if you are from eastern part, I think maybe you may understand my story more better. So they look down on us. Then I start to see they start to intimidate us. you know Sometimes when we have problem, maybe you just go to them like an uncle or family, maybe to tell them, oh, I need help or so. They will treat us as if we are not part of them. Sometimes when one of them or one of the uncle come from the city, and maybe he brought some good things, and we too we ran out to welcome the uncle and the family, these people will organize themselves and push us away, because it's like, as I said, my dad does not have any brother or sister. So these are like our own brother and our sister, but they don't look at us that way. They look at us now as if we are an outsider. So they start to look for a way, like they are oppressing us. And now my dad is not all that strong. He is sick. So we don't have anybody. So we were isolated just because of this being an obi, or being inheritor of all those little land that I spoke about in my former story. So now we are like, we live among them, but we are not like the part of the family, but we continue like this. So in this way now, my mom was struggling because she need to take care of her husband, which is our father, and she also need to take our responsibilities, like feeding us, clothing us. The burden is too much, and not that she have a very good business. This is just a little business she do to keep the family together. So things are not really moving well, but in my own heart, I really want to go to school, because there's nothing else I think I can do than to go to school. So this my aunt said that she will be of help. So my result was good, and I was able to get admission in one of the best girls secondary school in my town. But unfortunately, to some of those my age mates in our family, some of them will not even have the chance I have to get admission in such a school. So they have admission in other school, but not like the one I was able to have admission into. But because of the way they were having their little connection, because of their education, some of them start to find way. In Africa, sometimes you need to bribe your way back into one thing or the other. So some of them was able to find way to get their daughter, because it is all girls secondary school. And I don't want to say the story like I said before, all round of everything that happened. I am only carrying these people along to my story because they are needed in my story. Not that I'm trying to bring everything about my family in my story, but when it is needed that I must mention them, I need to mention them, because without them, there will be no story. So what I'm trying to say is that this is the way I was able to get admission. And they too were able, like, they were forced to come to my school. But by the time all of us enter into this school, then there was another family war, which is different from what I experienced. My own problem with my aunt is that my aunt is just being, let's say, being wicked on her own. But in this situation now, it's not that maybe somebody is maltreating me like my aunt. It is not like family to family. So it's not, I never do anything wrong, but I was just being part of the family. So when this problem is happening, it's like I am also a victim of this family problem, because of my father's situation, and because of the land, and because of the kinsmen, and this will be all these things make me now to still be another victim. After coming back from my dad place, I come into our house now. There is also hatred everywhere. You cannot even express yourself. You cannot go to anybody to explain your situation. Nobody is there for you. The only person that is there for me when I come back was now like my mom. And my mom doesn't really have time, because the burden she's carrying then is too much for her to carry as a woman. So she too, she's trying to meet up the requirement that she was not expecting she will find herself into. So making her not to be able to even have time to know how you are feeling or what is going through your mind, or all those kind love, parents give to their children, especially women or girls children. When you are stressed, you don't even know if the other person next to you is going through pain, because you too, you have enough things that is taking over your mind. So that is how this thing happened. I thank God that I was able to get this admission, but by the time I was already in my first year in the secondary school, with some of these my relatives, or some of these my family members, or let me call them my cousins, then it was, I still look different. I look malnourished. I look a little bit not too clean, let me put it that way, compared to them. The only chance I have is that I was opportune to get this admission there without going through back door or doing anything special. It is my merit, I work for it, and God favor me to have it. So by the time I got into secondary school, it was my aunt who was able to buy all the things that is needed, like school uniform, like locker, like the chair, like the books, everything. But my mom was able. By then, we don't pay the school fee like today. We paid what they call PTA levy. But this PTA levy is also, by then, it's a very big money for somebody like my mom to get it, to feed you and still pay for you. I was not able to go to dormitory because it is expensive. So by then I am a day student. So it was that clothes and those uniform my aunt bought for me in my first year when I was having admission, was the first and the last clothes that I got from my family. So how I get other school uniform, I will explain to them as I go into the story proper. So that was how I got into the school. So we start. So whenever I finish school, I will come back home. I have to help my mom at home. We have to go to shop. Sometimes my mom will cook some of the things. It will give me to go and hawk. You have to carry it in the head, to go and sell. Maybe sometimes he may cook something like moi. He will say go and sell, in the center, because our shop is near our house. Likewise, my senior sister will take her own to another direction, while I took my own to another direction. So when we finish, we come back, my mom will still be busy cooking for the shop, or she will be preparing other things for the next day. So when we finish selling those things, we have to go to shop again to continue to sell there till late in the night, like 10 o'clock, 10:30, we close. The next morning again, by 4 o'clock, we all were awake, because I need to help to do some certain things before it is time for me to go to school. So then my sister is already in her almost final year in her commercial school. By then, they always do like O level, A level, though I don't know much about commercial things. So that is how we continue. And by the time this my cousins, they follow me to the school, that hatred we have in the family, even in the school, they isolate me. They don't even want people to know that we are from the same family. So me, I don't worry, I don't care, because I am not the one who forced myself to be born there. But that pain of what my aunt did to me follow me down to our family. So by the time I come down to our family, seeing all this thing again, I will say then my childhood was not all that good. I don't know how to laugh. I don't know how to play. I don't know how to communicate with people, because there was no chance for such thing. Immediately you finish your school, you run down home, you try to help, then you take the things to go and sell, you come back again, you go to shop. The only people we talk with is our customer, and you know the way customer they behave. It's not for you to be having fun with them. You serve them what they want, they pay you. Sometimes some of them will even be angry at you, some of them will abuse you. So there's no time for childhood behavior. There's no time for childhood fun. We are always busy, because without these things, then we will die of hunger. There will be no source of income. This continued until I was able to get my result. Then I go to my second year in the secondary school. So the more now I come up to my secondary school, the more the hatred and the problem become more. By then my sister have finished. My mom don't even want her to do any O level or A level. I don't know. So my mom now took my sister full time with her to help her in the shop, to help her in everything she's doing. And she give birth to my sister when she's very young. So both of them have a lot of understanding. Compare with that, they give birth to us many years after the war. So it's like the way she reasoned with my sister is more understandable to them than the way she reasoned with me. Because some of the things she will say, I will look at my mate, I will ask, why will I be in this situation or something like that. So she looked me like somebody who is always stubborn. Sometimes maybe when your parents tell you something, you ask why. Why must it be so? They don't really like it. They always like when they tell you, do something without argument, you do them. So there is a very big gap between me and my sister in the terms of reasoning, in the way we do our things, in the way we move. So my senior brother, her own case is different. Like as I said, nobody always pay attention how he do his thing. They only try to train him in the way. So he's a little bit being pampered, because now he is the hope of the family. So they don't want to stress him or what he do. Even when they want to take him to go and serve the master, when he got there, he's not receiving the type of attention he's receiving in our house. So he started to complain that he want to come back. At the end of the day, they still brought him back. He don't care. Sometimes he will just follow his friends to go and have fun. But in this situation, I'm only talking about my own story. So that was how things happened until I enter my second year in the secondary school. The same problem persists. I don't even know, whenever I go to class, I will stay on my own because I don't want to cause trouble, whereby they will bring this trouble to my mom. Then it will increase her stress and she will be more angry and all these things. Even in her own mind, they don't really want me to go. But this my aunt, who I said that she's educated, was the one that is like forcing her to allow me to go. So any little opportunity that she have for me not to go, she will be happy to do it. I also know that. So whenever I come to class, I like to stay on my own. I don't like to do any crazy stuff. I don't like to mix up with people, so that maybe one way or the other, I would not like to have problem or bring problem at home. But all these my cousins, we are not many, but we are about three of us then in our school. But everybody in different class. Some later come into class one. One is already 2 3 years above us. This one is almost my senior sister, their age group. Then I have this one. She is my senior in age, but we are in the same class level. I think she's 4 years older than me, but we are in the same class too by then. So this one, her mom is a teacher, her dad is also a teacher, primary school teacher. The father is a head master, and while the mother is normal teacher in primary school. So anything that happened in the school, she will come back home, she will tell her mom. Even when, like, let's say in the class, the teacher will come and the teacher will praise me. Oh, my girl, your result is good. Or they ask question and answer. Then the teacher will always recommend you. But when she got home, will I call it jealousy or hatred? I don't know. She will try to talk another story to her mom to make me look as if I am somehow irresponsible. But at the end of the day, we continue like this. So by the time we finish our secondary school, class 2, because in the year I was in my secondary school, we are the first set that started what they call 6334 system. This 6334 system is when you spend your 6 years in your primary school, then 3 years in your junior secondary school, then another 3 years in your senior secondary school, then 4 years in your university. Because the people we met then, they only finish in their class 5, then finish, they have to further their education like higher institution. But in our set, we are the first set that started classes in that our area. Though other states have started their own maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago, but during this time in our school, we started late. So I am among those people who started it as our first starter. So that is how this problem starts. Even in the school, this my cousin who I'm in the same class with. Sometimes she will gang up with some of the, some of our schoolmates, like to mock me, like when I passed, she will make some comments. She will like to, those people, they will look me, they will start to laugh. All those little things that children do then. Me, I don't answer because me personally, I don't see it as a why I will bring some family stuff into the school. And when you come into our house, our compound, everybody is like we are living together. So if you're an outsider and you come to our house, you will not even know that there is a problem going on or internal problem going on because of the way we stay together. You must enter into our house through one gate. So when you enter into our house through one gate, you start to see everybody in their houses. So the compound is big. So you will not know. So how will I come now to school and start to show them that there is problem? But this my sister, she always like to show them that, oh, we may be the same surname, but look at her, to bring me down. I did not say anything. As God may help me, anytime my result come, I always have good result. Though she is the daughter of a teacher, but she have never been above me when it comes to result. She's always far, far, far behind. And that time in our church, that is where we get our result. Then we don't have all this street address, like the way they will say, oh, Tony Street or so. So most of our results come through our church postal address. So after church service, they will now call the names of the people who have letter. Or sometimes in normal days, you can go to church to ask the catechist or the ken on them if there's any letter. So most of the time when our result come, they always be the first to go there to get the letter. They will even pick my own letter. They will even open the result to first to know whether I pass or I fail. And they will bring the result like that to our house without even closing it back because they know that we cannot do them anything. But I don't care. At the end, my result will still be good. So I don't know if they passed or not. But it's only when we want to enter the next class. If I see that they too, they go to next class, that is when I will know that they pass. Or sometimes maybe I will be passing in front of their house. I will hear when their parents or their mom will say, oh, look at these people. Even she who doesn't have time to read her book, look at how her result is good. You, my children, that I am even a teacher, are you people, she will be rebuking, and that is when I will know that their result is not good. So that was how this thing continued until I was able to go to finish my GSS 3. At the end of the day, my result was very good. That now I have to enter SS1. So I have to stop my story here because it is when I enter my SS1, that is when now the real story of my life, that is when the really journey of my life started. But I have to stop my story here. I would like you to follow me to the next story because the next story, I believe it will be very, very interesting. I am not talking my story because it is interesting. I'm only saying them so that maybe you are going through some family situation now, which is like my own, because I know then in the eastern part where I come from, I also see some people like us. It may not be like the type of my own story, like family war, but because of maybe poverty as well. People look down on them. Some of them make things hard for some of their children to cope, and it makes some of them now to go to do some hard job to survive. So I'm only using all these things. I don't know the type of family you come from or whatever your family may look like. Just know that maybe God put you there for you to be the light to this family. Maybe God put you there that one day you will come out of your struggle. You can be able to also tell your story like my own. Maybe you have passed through those type of situation and you are ashamed to speak about them. As I'm telling my own now, know that somebody also is there like you, so that I can be encouraged and not be ashamed. What matter in life is what God have destined you to be, not what human being have destined you to be. Many big people we hear about them today. Some of them, if they even tell you their own story, maybe your own is even better. But what I'm trying to say in this part 3 of my story is that sometimes you may not know what future stand for you. You only go through future. At the end of the day, you see that the road is too tight. At the end of the day, you see a lot of darkness in your tunnel. At the end of the day, you look back and you will ask God, why am I here? But all I'm trying to say is, let everything that concerns you, do not allow any family situation to be the reason why you will be put in a cage, or why your situation will. You may not go to school like me, but you may say, okay, I would not like to be in this situation. What am I going to do? Create something for yourself. You may start somewhere. Just as I said, nothing is too small to start with. You may have little money that doesn't have value. Just put it in the hand of God. Say, Father, show me what I'm going to do with this money, so that people will not take advantage of my situation to mock me. I will stop my story here. In the next part, please follow me. You will surely learn something from my story. You will surely learn something. You know, may God bless you. Subscribe to my channel. This is just a new channel. I'm trying to grow it. Press the notification button, press the like button, and God will bless you. Bye.